I'm going to show you how to stitch Kreative Kiwi's large butterfly applique, and for that today I'm going to be using my 5x7 hoop, wash away stabiliser, cut away. I've got matching bobbin and threads. To give it that beautiful iridescent look I'm using Mylar, and I've got my fabrics cut to size, my tape and my scissors. I've already hooped my wash away stabiliser and I've got a sheet of cutaway placed on top, and I'm just going to put a little bit of tape just to hold that in place while it stitches it down. I've loaded the right hand wing into my machine along with purple thread and matching bobbin, and I'm now going to pop this into my machine and stitch round number 1, which is going to give me my placement outline. So we're now going to add the backing and also the batting at the same time, and the batting's going on the back this time, and then I'm going to place my fabric over the top, and I think I'm going to have to trim that a little bit because it's a bit long. I'll just do that now. Okay, so I'm now going to take that down so that it can't move during stitching. I'm going to pop that in my machine and stitch round number 2. Next we're going to add our first fabric to the top here, so I'm going to place that down over the top outline, and I'm going to put a bit of tape just to hold it in place, and then I'm going to place my Mylar sheet over the top, and I'm going to stick that down too because it's quite slippery where it's a plastic and it will slide all over the place. Okay, that's good. So I can now pop that into my machine and stitch round number 3, and that's going to secure them. Next we're going to trim up just around here, so I'm going to remove this tape. And now I'm going to do exactly the same with the bottom, and place my fabric over and tape it, and then do the same with Mylar over the top. I'm now going to pop that in my machine and stitch round number 4, and that's going to secure it all. So once again we're going to trim up the excess around here. And now I'm going to trim up the rest. Be careful when you're pulling tape off of this because it will tear, so you don't want to go ruining it before you even start. I'm going to start off with the back. I'm now going to stitch round number 5, and that's going to do the zigzagging all the way around the edge. Next is round number 6, and that's going to do all the lacy detail all over the wings. I just want to show you this before we go any further. Isn't that fabulous? Okay, I'm now going to put this back into my machine and stitch round number 7, and that's going to do all the satin stitch and the greater details around the wing. I'm now going to remove this from the frame, so I'm going to cut from the back and just trim all around the edge, taking care of course not to cut my stitches. So now for the second wing, I've loaded the left hand side file into my machine. I've put my purple thread and bobbin back into my machine. I've hooped my wash away stabilizer, I've placed my cutaway on top and I've taped it down, and I'm now going to put my hoop into my machine and stitch round number 1 as last time for the outline. I'm going to turn my hoop over to the back and place my batting down over the outline and my backing fabric over the top. And now I'm going to stick that down with some tape. I'll pop that into my machine and stitch round number 2. I'm going to trim back the cutaway stabilizer from around my stitch line, just so that my tape has got somewhere solid to stick to. So now I'm going to add my first piece of fabric to the top of the wing there and tape it down. And then I'm going to place my Mylar over the top. Just a little word of warning about Mylar. If you put tape on it and then lift the tape off, it can take the special coating off of it. So if you're going to position it, try and get it right first time. I'm now going to pop that in my machine and stitch round number 3 to attach it. I'm now going to trim up along here, trim away the excess. And now I'm going to add the fabric to the lower piece and my Mylar over the top. I'm going to tape that first. I'm not putting any tape onto this part though, because I don't want it to remove the coating. I'm now going to put that back in my machine and stitch round number 4 to secure it. I've removed the tape from both the back and front, and I'm going to trim up my fabric now. Also the batting and the cutaway stabilizer. No, I've done that one, sorry. I'm now going to put that into my machine and stitch round number 5, which is going to do the zigzagging around the edge. Next is round number 6, and that's going to stitch all the lace detail over the wings. I've changed my bobbin and thread to black, and I'm now going to stitch round number 7. That's going to do all the satin stitching. So now time to free it from the hoop, so I'm going to turn it over to the back. So it's time to hoop part number 3, and that's going to be the body. I've loaded the file into my machine ready. I'm going to place a piece of cutaway stabilizer on top, and I'm going to tape it in place. I'll now pop that in my machine and stitch round number 1. Now we're going to attach our backing fabric, the batting and the front fabric. So I'm going to start off with the back. I'm just going to trim up these little threadies here. And I'm going to place my fabric over the outline, and I'm going to tape it in place. I place the batting down over the outline on the front and my fabric over the top of that, and once more tape it in place. I'm now going to pop that in my machine and stitch round number 2, and that's going to secure all 3 to the hoop. I'm now going to trim away all the excess batting, fabric and stabilizer. And I'm going to start with the back. We're now going to add the right hand side wing. I'm going to turn my hoop this way so that I can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to place this stitch line over this stitch line here. I know it's hard to see because it's black on black, but it is there. And I'm actually going to pin this. I don't want to use tape because it will take the coating off the Mylar. And it's going to be a bit tough because the stitching is quite thick. If you're stitching the bag, then you would stitch round number 3 before you did this, which would do the antenna. But because I'm doing the freestanding butterfly, I'm going to skip round 3 and go straight to round 4, and that's going to zigzag along here and fix the wing to the body. I'm now going to do exactly the same with the other side. If, like me, you've clipped too close there, don't worry about it, just leave it because it'll be hidden and sorted out in the next round of stitching. I'm just going to trim this a little bit closer. Okay. I now pop that in my machine and stitch round number 5, and that's going to secure that wing to the body as it did for the other one. Next is round number 6, and that's going to do the satin stitching around the head of the butterfly. And next is round number 7 that's going to complete it. I'm now going to free this from the hoop, so I'm going to do that from the back. I'm now going to remove all the excess stabiliser with some warm water and a paintbrush. And there it is, our butterflies finished. All I have to do now is attach a black pipe cleaner to my butterfly. I haven't got any black left at the moment, so I've just put a brown one in place just so that you can see how it looks. I hope you've enjoyed this stitch along. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to be notified of new ones as they're published. There's also Kreative Kiwi's Facebook group. Brilliant site, lots of helpful ideas and inspiration there, so if you haven't joined already, please do go along and check it out, and thank you very much for joining me.